It's the golden rays that's kissing on your caramel skin. Just like the ocean breeze playing through your hair and out your wind. Something about that coconut scent that lingers on me when you walk by. Every step that you take, I love is deeper than the ocean tide. Ooh, I ain't even gotta tell you twice to let your head down. Anytime and place you need me, I'll be around to make sure that your heart will never touch the ground. Baby, you're the only reason I come around, I'm the one that you can call on, not just for the weekends. We can make it last forever, I know what you're thinking. You ain't gotta search no more, baby, I've been what you're seeking. And it's through the nighttime, till the sun be creeping up. We can be the talk around town. Baby, I'ma hold it down. We can be the talk around town. I'ma hold it down, now. Baby, tell me exactly what you wanna do. I ain't no psychic and guessing ain't what I'm trying to do. But just tell me a little secrets like how you want it, boo. So you can show me your baby girl, I could walk you through. Girl, like ticket for dinner under the moonlight. Chocolate covered kisses on your body, I'ma do right. Make you forget about your worries, what got you so tight. I'ma treat you so right, that body's all mine. I just can't get all up in my feelings, but the way you carry yourself got me in love. And this may sound a little cliche, but believe me, can't nobody hold it down the way I do.
Conversations, I could get in really deep with some people. And it's just, hey, let's go for that.
Hey, Talofa, Utah, welcome back into Buddha's Lounge as part of Everyday People. My guest today is Beau Pili. He's not a stranger to the show, but he's got a couple of things going on, and I don't think there's ever a bad time to buy a house, right? You own your own title company, Oasis Title. We'll talk a little bit about the market as far as how Beau can help you with only him. Don't ask him about interest and all that other stuff. I don't, none of that. We only want questions about title stuff, right?
Yep.
So people have to be at a certain level to be able to talk to you. They're not talking to you right now because it's the beginning part of their home buying process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to get to a certain level in the process. That's when you talk to someone who's in the title business, right? Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Those of you may not remember where Beau comes from, and you might want to know if you're related to. But if you wouldn't mind, Beau, sharing with us your islands, your families, and where you come from Mole.
So I grew up in California, moved here in 2000 to Utah. On my dad's side, he's from Laie, grew up on Oahu, and then my grandpa's from America Samoa. Mm-hmm. And then my mom is of English descent from the Scottish Islands, or I think it's an island.
Yeah.
So
you got fighters on both sides.
Yeah, I got William Wallace is actually one of our ancestors.
Are you serious?
And then we have some chiefs on my dad's side.
Okay.
So it's like, I got some good blood. I got some good blood going.
No, the Pili family in Samoa, but Wallace, yeah, anybody watch Braveheart for sure. Yeah, you got good stock.
Better watch out.
Sorry. Is that a yellow lava or a kilt?
Yeah, exactly. You do both.
You don't know. You got double duty. Where'd you grow up? Give me a little background of Beau Pili.
So I grew up in San Diego. Was there about till my junior year in high school, and then moved to Utah when I was a junior. Went to Murray High School, Murray High grad. And we're still living there, Murray. Once you move to Murray, you never move out.
Wow.
A lot of people live there 40,
Just
50,
when you
60
think you're
years.
going out, they pull you back in.
Yes, a lot of times you leave in a hearse when you're leaving Murray.
Wow.
People love it. Its utilities are cheap. They have their own utilities, have our own school district, have one high school. And so I'm involved with that. Okay. With the high school, I do their announcing for Friday Night Lights, along with some raising of funds and doing things.
See, you're in the community. See, you know this guy, man.
Exactly.
He's our cousin. Yeah.
So, and then just have 5 kids, beautiful wife, 5 wonderful children, and just excited about life. We're really busy. You know,
ages. What's your age range?
Our oldest is 16. Our youngest is 5. And our Saturdays are them.
What's I gotta ask about the dating world. What's it like right now? Fatherhood, and you got a child that's at the dating age. What's that like, man?
He had a girlfriend for a minute
Ooh,
there.
had
No longer, which I'm a little happy about. I struggled with it a little bit, but it's interesting. They don't date. We're at the pool. We're talking about it a little bit just today. They don't date. They don't ask for dates. They don't go on. They hang out, right? And it's
and
interesting.
that is assumed that it's a relationship.
I think there are a lot of assumptions made in relationships nowadays, where it's like, oh, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. Where I remember, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend?
Right.
And like, oh, of course I do. And so
even little notes like, Mark,
they
yes,
don't do those.
or they don't. Wow, they
it's swipe left, swipe right. Oh, you.
Sounds like a lot like caveman. You just go grab the hand. Come, you girl, me
you
boy.
come me.
We go date.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's interesting because we have 2 kids that are teenagers, and the rest are one's preteen, and the other 2 are pretty young.
Oh, brother,
it's a fun time.
More power to you.
It's
more
a
good
time.
So those families who right now maybe they don't have a title company, and they're at that level of the process of the home buying experience. What are they looking for? They'll have all these title companies in front of them. What is it that should jump out to them, and why should they consider Oasis? Besides, you look like us, you're my cousin, you sound like me, and I just automatically trust you because we're kin, because we're connected through our heritage. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. And when you're looking for a title company, number one, consumers have the right to choose. A lot of agents, loan officers, they have relationships that they formed over the years, and they're going to default to certain title companies. Why choose Oasis Title, right? We're small. We're small in the sense that we're able to take care of the client in a way where it's almost customizing. A lot of times, we do poppers, we have Dole Whip, we have the fun things, and we could add things to our closing experience, but you also end up paying for that experience. And if you look at pricing out there right now, I just see a lot of people charging more fees, and some of them are junk fees, some of them are additional, document prep fee, things like that, when we just put it all into one, which is our settlement/closing fee. And so just be aware of, as you're out there, you have the right to choose. You have the right to find someone that will do the job right. And I think number one, whenever you're dealing with insurance, you want to minimize claims, right? Our job is to take care of the risk that is associated with any property. You want to minimize those claims, and to date, we've been open for over 6 years. We haven't had one claim. And so for me, like, that's huge. And I came from title and went over to escrow years ago. But, for us, we specialize on preventing claims, because claims, if they happen in the future, it becomes a headache, because all of a sudden that homeowner that bought that home has to deal with attorneys, has to deal with underwriting, has to deal with all these things that, if just done right the first time, they wouldn't have had to deal with it to begin with. And so
the current market right now with homes, where are we at right now for people that are, it's still the American dream, right? To buy and own a home. Is it tough right now? I mean, from just, again, Beau's not a real estate expert. He knows a lot. He's very smart in his lane. But we're just 2 guys just talking about the market. Where's the market at right now for anybody who's a potential home buyer right now?
It's tougher. Rates are high. Home prices haven't come down as much as people have wanted it to. And so you're having to pay a lot more for a home than you ever anticipated, especially if you're trying to compare to years of the past, which 2020, 2021, we can't compare anymore. It's just the rates were so low. I have a 2.875% interest rate. So it's like, I love what I'm paying for my mortgage right now, but not a lot of people had that same luxury. And so a lot of people have been priced out of paradise, where, there are things out there, there's programs, there's opportunities. It's a buyer's market. I'm seeing a lot more seller credits that are being negotiated as part of the transaction. So the seller is offering $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in credits towards
Wow.
buyers' closing costs, towards temporary buy down.
That's good, right?
It's good. Well, of course, they're going to adjust the sales price to make up for some of those seller credits.
Gotcha.
And so it's all negotiating power. So as you're looking for a home, number one, find a lender so you know how much you qualify for, right? Make sure, hey, I'm not qualified for this crazy amount, which I never should have gone for. Get that qualified letter with a qualified lender, and then find a good real estate agent, one that knows how to negotiate, especially when the home inspection comes back and all of a sudden you have all these issues and the seller's not willing to come down on price or not willing to contribute additional funds towards close. Then you're in a struggle because you might not have a good negotiator.
Ooh.
So it really does matter who you choose. A lot of times we choose family and friends because that's what we're used to. But sometimes that's not the best route to go. It's finding those that actually do transactions, that do deals on a daily basis, that will benefit the consumer.
People that are good at their job is what I heard.
Exactly. Yeah.
And maybe a guy who owns his own title company. I'm just throwing that out there right there, guys. That's all. I love that. Really quick to put a bow on the home industry that we're talking about. If the homes right now are at a high rate and mortgages are very high, those of us that are at that point right now where I could now make the leap, and let's say I don't want to. I qualify, but I now want to pull my money back. What can I do in the meantime if I'm gonna wait for the rates to come down? Do I pay off credit cards still? Do I keep my credit up? I mean, what are some good practices that we can suggest to people while you're waiting for the rates to come down? If they are.
Yeah, increase that credit score, right? It's going to help you in that interest rate that you get. Again, not a lender, so I can't speak to it a ton, but what I've done for myself, trying to keep a high credit score. And stay out of debt. Especially like, you might have cash, you go buy something and you're like, hey, that would be so much fun to have. Well, what is that going to pay off in the next 5 to 10 years? Are you creating experiences with family where it's making sense that you spend money on a jet ski or something?
But some people out there might say, Beau, but I got extra money this time, man. I want to spend it now, and I'm just saying that's my impulse.
For sure. Go invest into something else, right? Go find a financial advisor. Find someone that will take that money and multiply it. I love the last number of years that we've gone through because it's allowed me to take some insight to, hey, I need to change some of my habits that have, I wouldn't say necessarily put me in a bad position, but put me in a spot where it's like, I don't want to have to worry about those things, right? I know I have money coming in from here. I know I have money coming in from here because I made some correct investment, had correct investment strategies.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going way out in the left field, but be smart with your money. As a society, we love to spend money. Credit card debt is through the roof right now. Let's just pull it back and let's get in a spot where we're not having to worry. Do we have to pay for cash for everything? No, I don't believe in that. But invest into the future so then you're not having to worry about the future.
With all the political angst and things that are going on from Capitol Hill, from the White House, all of that stuff, people that are potential home buyers, should they worry about anything that's going on with the government, or they just need to keep their head down and follow those good practices? Don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Focus on the facts.
Focus on the facts. I think that's a hard one because there are industries that are affected by some of these changes that are being made. I love following politics and maybe follow it too much. I'm trying to back out a little bit. But if you're in industries that you could be affected by some of the decisions that are being made, and a lot of the things that are being done are all long term, right? Like they're wanting to change it now so that in the long term there's going to be benefit. But again, what are you going to do personally? The only person you could ever influence is yourself. we cannot be pessimistic about the future. We could only control what we can control, and let's just keep on moving forward. If you need a second, third job because it's just a struggle, or you just need hey, I don't need to spend money on that anymore. I don't need to go do this. We'll still go buy our venti or whatever you call it, like our large.
Look at you trying to
Starbucks
act like you don't
drink.
know the
Right.
name of the size.
Like you go.
Oh, it's the water venti. I never use it. I don't.
20 ounces, whatever that is. But instead of going and buying that, you just go buy black coffee over at 7-Eleven, right? You make adjustments in your life so that you can invest into your future. And I think we just need to be smarter. We just spent money because, a lot of, especially during COVID, we got a lot of money from the government, and we love to spend money, and you get into those habits, and they're just bad habits that we've created that we just need to back off, because the home buying opportunities are still there. Like, there are still programs out there.
That's wonderful. I love hearing that. The American dream still is to buy and own your own home. Thank you for that information. If anybody is looking for a great title company like Oasis, Beau owns Oasis title. What's the information and what is it that you could help them with? Maybe they're looking for answers. You have those answers.
Yeah. So information, my website, www.oasistitleutah.com. My email, beau.pili@oasistitleutah.com. And my phone number is 801-548-7322. That is my cell phone. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. If you have questions about potential, people might have interest on your property, investing, things of that nature, a lien that's against your property that's not yours, give me a call. I'm happy to help. At least give you my opinion, and not take it as any sort of legal advice. But we want, anyone selling, buying, or refinancing their homes, we want to be part of that transaction and give you that greater experience.
All right. The website, we'll put all the information. You can check in, ask questions with Beau. The other reason why Beau's here is to relaunch his Fathers and Husbands podcast. We're going to talk about the nights. We're going to talk about what you can expect, but also I'm so happy for you that you had a personal breakthrough. If you missed this, my conversation with Beau that happened a couple of weeks ago, Beau pretty much made everybody cry, and had some really good breakthrough with his father from his growing up. So we'll talk about all of that. We're going to take a break. Please click like and share this live podcast. Again, it's powered by GetMedCard.co, the easiest and quickest way to get your medical card at the lowest price. It's $70. For more information, call 833-420-4207. Don't move a muscle. We'll be back with Beau Pili, the Oasis title guy.
But it wouldn't change a thing, 'cause you said it all when you said goodbye. And you took off your wedding ring. And I've been trying to get over you. Yeah, I've been spending time alone. I've been trying to get over you, but it'll take time to get it done. And all my friends keep trying to fix me up. They say I need somebody new. When it comes to love, I've all but given up. 'Cause life don't mean nothing without you. And I've been trying to get over you. Yeah, I've been spending time alone. I've been trying to get
They're fearful.
Thank you so much for coming back and tuning back into Buddha's Lounge here with Everyday People. My guest today on Buddha's Lounge is the owner of Oasis Title, Beau Pili, the title guy. If you missed the first part of the interview, our conversation with Beau, he talks a lot about the title business and you as a home buyer, what you could possibly do right now while you're waiting for the prices to come down. You can watch it again. It's going to be in our video album on Facebook, but then we're going to also then put it on our YouTube page. So please click, follow, like, and share. And we're going to give you another podcast, another address to click, like, and share. Beau, in the coming month in June, you're going to relaunch your podcast. If you wouldn't mind, I would love for people to understand what's the podcast about and where does this idea come from, wanting to talk to other fathers, other husbands, and kind of a live brainstorm on how to figure out father and husband.
So the title of the podcast is Husband and Fatherhood, Building Foundations of Strong Family Ties. Kind of a tongue twister. With the podcast itself, my vision with this podcast is really leaning in to what it means to be a father and a husband, what it looks like, what the journey, what their process is. You know, it's interesting. I love my job as a escrow officer. As I sit in a closing room and I have a family excited to buy a home, they're starting a new chapter in their life when they're buying. They're ending a chapter by selling, and I get to be part of that. And at that same time, I get to ask questions. I get to know them. I hope that they become friends. And as I have, I've had many conversations with people in the closing room just about how it's like to be a father, how it's like to be a husband, and the struggles that husbands are providing. Right? Naturally, we want to be the provider for our family. Fortunately for me, my wife was a school teacher, and she helped with the the funds of the home and contributing in that way. But then she stopped, and then it came on me, and all of a sudden, it was something new. It was something we wanted, but something new, and it just added another layer of stress, of this burden that you're carrying, making sure your family, family of 5 kids, that's a lot. Having a teenage boy, he's a garbage disposal. He's always eating, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But we go through things as we're going through that process of being a husband, being a father. And so my intentions and my vision of what I see with this podcast is I'm sitting down with a husband, with a father. The father could be a 95-year-old man that has since retired, has 40 great-great-grandchildren, but has so much insight to give because of his lived experience. To a 24-year-old boy, I would call sometimes, but 24-year-old man that was just newly married and now has a spouse and is trying to understand how she lives and understand how to accommodate the way she doesn't put the toothbrush in the drawer, and how to have patience for certain things.
How she's her own person.
Exactly. And how to adjust your life according to those situations. Yeah. And the podcast would be something where, the hope is twice a month I'm going to interview someone. Then the other 2 times, so it'd be once a week that I hop on. The other time where I'll get on for 15 to 30 minutes and just share topics, right? Talk about the 5 love languages, talk about things, what it looks like to overcome, a divorce situation in a family. Like those, I want to dive deeper into those things because I have lived experience. You have lived experience. Imagine a 95-year-old man sharing about how it's like to be a husband and father, but then also he has 5 other husbands and fathers that he's connected with because it's his kids. Yeah. Right? Like there's all these things that we connect to one another where I think being able to share it through podcast form, through long form conversation, would allow people to grab so many, hey, I love this idea, I'm going to try this. Or I have that similar experience because of my profession that I'm in, or I grew up in Utah, like I could relate, and then I see how that works for him. I'm gonna try a couple things. So it's not a one all be all. I'm gonna have every answer for you, but I hope it's bits and pieces that you create this masterpiece of life with.
It sounds, and what I'm taking from what you're saying is that you'll have on guests that you guys can actually have conversations. It's almost like you're saying, hey, bro, what did you do when you came home late? And it's almost like you're trying to figure things out. Say, what worked for you? What didn't work for me? Here's what worked for me. And it's a think tank of ideas. Again, we're still in all the years that we've been fathers and husbands, we're still throwing stuff on the wall to see if it sticks, right? And that's what I think the podcast, or that's how I'm understanding, is that there's gonna be two guys, twice a month, trying to figure out how to make things stick. And you know what, that sticks. Let's try that, right? And then it's a whole process, and then you're gonna have to come back and tell us what worked and what didn't work. And let's throw another thing on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, and I think about it this way, like there's all these books we could read, right? And these authors have their own perspective. And some of them have like hard evidence, very objective. They have these statistics. At the same time, anecdotal evidence does help, improve someone's life. So to be able to take someone's lived experience and say, hey, how does this work into my life? Because again, like I think of just my one kid. Like all my kids are different in their characteristics, their attributes, just things that they do are different from the other. And so we have to parent differently. We have to be, a little bit, our tone needs to be a little bit lessened with this one compared to this one. And so as we're having these conversations about that, like all of a sudden I'm taking it. I learn the most when I'm interacting with another father, because I don't want to go read all the textbooks. There's so many textbooks out there to read about being a father or being a husband. But if I'm able to take a piece here or there, oh, I'm half Polynesian and this person's half Polynesian and he's had this lived experience living in a Polynesian household, then I could take that experience from them. And so it's making that connection and creating that community. If we could create that community, who knows what can happen, and who knows who's willing to open up and share these experiences. Of course, you don't want to share everything. You want to be private with some things, or you could say, well, I heard this person, even though it's your story, but you're saying it. I know of this experience, but giving a platform where people can actually share and be able to say, hey, I come home some days and I just want to sit in bed in front of the TV, do absolutely nothing. And I feel like a complete a-hole as a father because I'm not sitting down there with my kids and I'm not giving a ton to them. Am I an a-hole? No. You're a human being that's going through stuff, but maybe try this. Maybe, don't go to the gym at 5 a.m. because when you come home, you're dead tired. You have no time for your kids.
Yeah.
And so making those adjustments are off of having those conversations where, I connect with that guy. I go to the gym at 5 a.m. Now I know why I'm so tired.
Growing up, TV was a big babysitter for me. I watched a lot of TV, a lot of sitcoms, a lot of family programs. Did you ever have a TV dad that you saw and you're like, man, why can't my dad be like that, man? Why can't, and then, I'm not saying that it became that way, but then as you grew up, you figured out, no, that's not the dad I want to be like. I actually, and then you form your own path. But I'll give you an example. Mike Brady, he never yelled at his kids. He never spanked them. And I thought, man, why can't my dad talk to me like that? Why can't he? Whether I'm still going through it, through my own process or whatever, I said to myself, because it wouldn't have worked. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have, but in my mind, I had already shut that lane off. I'm like, nah, it wouldn't work for me. Yeah. He's too nice. I probably would have taken advantage. I would have snuck out the window.
Yeah. I do. That's a great question. I do feel our fathers, the people in our lives, are meant to be in our life for a particular reason, and for that learning, for that growth opportunity to be there. it's interesting as you say that. I don't know why I think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I think of it wasn't even Will Smith's dad; it was his uncle.
It was Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil and Uncle Phil.
West Philadelphia, born and raised. Sorry, this stuff.
No, and like he took care of Will. Like he took care, brought him into his home in a very affluent neighborhood. All these things, and I think of that as, hey, I want to be that type of father that's willing to bring in anybody.
Oh, that's a great observation.
And so like those, like I'll tell you what, and it's the weirdest thing, and I've told some fathers this.
Yeah.
My greatest joy in life is if I'm out in public, whether it's at a playground, at Lagoon, and I see a father playing with their children, and it brings so much joy and so much happiness to my heart. That's like, you're amazing. Like, and it would be weird for me to go, thanks for being such a great father. Maybe that's because of just, my situations in the past and how I was raised. But it's like, it brings so much joy to my heart to see a father get on their knees and playing with their children. Yeah. And I want that to happen. I want those moments. I want to envision and picture, oh, dude, that's such a great dad right there. Or the husband that opens the car door for their wife still, even though they've been married for 40, 50 years. Like those moments, those experiences are ones that I want shared on the podcast. The ones that people find so much pride and so much joy and excitement that, hey, I want to go do that. Yeah. And all of a sudden, all you have these men that are so chivalrous, or whatever term you use, that they're so kind. And I think having a platform like this allows that openness, and all of a sudden you'll see kindness more out there, because they'll be like, I want to do that. I want to be better.
You recently had a breakthrough with your own father. We're talking about, traumatic experiences growing up. One thing that, and I'm not poo-pooing on our fathers, and not now, it all makes sense. Roll with me here. What your story, your breakthrough, made me just recently realize is that I am so quick to tell that bad experience that I had as a kid. I am. People ask, dude, what happened? I'm like double Dutch. I'm ready to tell my story, right? But after you telling me and sharing your breakthrough with your father and the healing that's happened, Beau, that day you shared that story, something happened to me. It made me say to myself, and I don't know if any other guys or women that do this with their parents, I said to myself, you know what? My dad has a lot of good stories too. I need to effing stop just telling the damn bad stories where I got whooped and where I felt I deserved it. I need to tell that story, but I need to still tell all the good stories. Yeah. I gotta tell and champion, because my dad raised me all those years. There were great times, but I think in this society, because we're trying to help people, we use our traumatic experiences as a gotcha, as a grab, and that's okay to do sometimes. But I wanted to say thank you for sharing your experience and sharing your story with your dad and the breakthrough that you guys had, because it really did make me think, so you got to tell some of those good stories too, man. Gosh, bro. You can't just tell, we all got shitty stories, but you got to start telling the good story. There's got to be a balance. Yeah. Was your dad, he was dealing with the cards that were given to him.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, so I want to say thank you for that. I don't want to steal your thunder, but please take us back to when you first came on your podcast and you had your dad on, and then, let's take a break. Sorry. I'm sorry, Sin, I apologize. Let's take a break because I want Beau to really collect his thoughts about this. So, and let me just set it up. Months ago, Beau had his podcast when he started it, had his father on, and had discussions, and that's where it initially started. From there, all of this other stuff happened. So when we come back, I'm gonna let Beau tell his story and the breakthrough that happened. It can happen to us too, all right? Click, like, and share. Don't move a muscle. We're gonna back about 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
There's a girl in my mind, and she knows I'm thinking for some time, but I know I truly love her. And I'm singing a song, hoping she'll be back when she hears it. My heart goes. Never thought that I would feel the type of love that I have with you. You took the pain from my heart and told me that we'd see through. All the stars in the world could outshine us together. Because it's you, because it's you. I wanna see it forever.
Then he switched. Then he
Yeah.
stopped talking about it.
Taloha, family, and welcome back into Buddha's Lounge under Everyday People. My guest this afternoon is Beau Pili, the Oasis title guy. Yes, he owns his own business, but he's starting to revamp his podcast. That'll be a weekly podcast among other vignettes that'll be shooting, all to help champion fathers and husbands. And guys, really, it's just so we can have a space that we can talk about it, because we're trying to see what works and not be so tough on our dads. You know, again, they were dealing with a hand that was dealt with them. Nobody gave them a playbook,
Yeah.
you know, and whatever tough life they went through, they just basically took that and cookie cut it and tried to do the best they could with us. That's not giving them a pass. That's just saying, we understand a lot of things now, guys. You know, we're elevated, we're understanding, we're smart. Beau, if you wouldn't mind taking everybody back to when, before you guys took a break from your podcast, and the bravery, the courage you had to invite your father to come on and have a live conversation, and then it actually happening. Tell that story, please.
I want to, I guess, set it up this way. If you're, and not everyone has children out there, but if you're to look at your child and they go make mistakes, you know, is your first reaction to just say you're the worst person ever, you're gonna go to hell, like all these things?
Yeah.
You would never do that. You would never want that for your children. So why do we do it towards other people? Why do we sit there and we judge and say, well, you know, you're a son of a gun to me, like you don't deserve my respect, like you have to earn it back. And that whole, it was interesting. So to kind of give greater background, when I was, you know, growing up in, you know, Polynesian household, there were some situations that occurred, and some were really hard, and some were very confusing. I was very perplexed at some moments, and just didn't know why, you know, especially when I think of it this way, you know, life is all about family and the love and all these things, but then why would this happen? And as you go through these experiences, and, you know, I grew a lot of hatred a lot of resentment towards my father. Thought he was the worst person ever. I thought of him and I would just get upset. And when I turned 30, I decided to forgive. Decided to, hey, Dad, like,
On your own.
On
your own.
on
Yes,
my
I
own.
wanted to clear that
You know,
up. Yeah.
I served in various church callings, and, you know, that allowed me to open my eyes to some greater, deeper things. And I was able to finally forgive, where, you know, if something happened, I wouldn't get upset like I used to. And that's how I kind of measured it, that, hey, we're good, right? And then a few years ago, we kind of reconnected. I'm calling him every day, we're having conversations, we're hanging out all the time. But, you know, we would talk more frequent than we did before. And then, you know, time goes on, and this podcast, and, you know, I start the podcast, I interviewed him, and I wanted to talk about kind of the process in which I forgave him, and it opened my eyes. We tend to look at people and society as a whole, everything's negative.
Yeah.
I think we use that as ways to connect with people too. because we could talk about negative things for days.
Yeah.
Positive things, we don't talk about positive things all the time. We could talk about someone and how they did this or how they offended me or how this and that and just go down this rabbit hole. But to say that same person, hey, he took my garbage out, he did this, he cleaned up my gutters, we don't talk, we don't give
Pay for my
grace.
school fees,
Pay for my school
football,
fees,
yeah.
right? And we don't, I don't know why we don't focus on that as a society, but I can see why we're so divided as a society.
Can I ask, because you mentioned something interesting, that you had already made your decision, you're going to do, you were already forgiven him, you yourself. When you invited Dad to come on the podcast, did you have any reservations about him actually talking to you? Or you were like, you know what, I'm doing this for me, I got to check it off my bucket list so I can say, I invited him. I did give him a chance to talk, and nothing came of it. Or was the hope, man, I got to bring Dad on and try to break this ice?
Well, the purpose of the podcast is to create better men, to create better fathers, to create better husbands. My whole intention to have him on is that we could share our story and our journey so that happens, right? I had no other expectations from him. I didn't expect him to say, sorry, son, I'm so sorry for everything I've done.
Yeah.
No, it's simply because I want to see men become better men.
And Dad was a grandstanding too, I will say,
Yeah.
because he could have totally taken the opportunity. I'm gonna forgive you right now, in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But credit to a real healing, a real moment happening. It happened privately, and
It
to
did.
me, that was like, dang, it's working, Beau.
Yeah.
It's freaking working.
Well, and it's interesting because I had to change in my mind in the way I talk to myself that I don't have daddy issues. I have Beau issues. I have issues that I need to figure out, that I need to stop blaming a person that was hundreds and thousands of miles away from me. Stop blaming him for the way I'm reacting now. Because yes, I was a product of that environment, but am I not a stop agent, and am I not able to make my own decisions where it's like, you know what, Dad? Yes, I grew up in that life, and it wasn't terrible. Like I don't want to paint him as this terrible person and all these things, but at the same time, I make the decisions now that I'm doing in life, and there's moments that I screw up, and you could ask my children. I react a certain way. I just yesterday when I was trying to get my daughter to church early, I yelled at her and screamed at her. Was that the right approach, or should I have gone to her, said, "Hun, we really have to go, or I'm just gonna have to leave you. I'm sorry." Like, yes, I could have probably done it that way and been a better father. But for me, I finally had to make that decision. It's not daddy issues, it's my issues. And I have to face those issues. We easily say, hey, these are daddy issues. Let me set this aside. I don't have to take it on right now. I'm gonna take it on at a time where I feel good about it, instead of facing the issues because we're making those decisions right then and there. Let's face it ourselves. Stop blaming. Stop finding the scapegoat. Where we have to, as a society, stop blaming whether it's Donald Trump or whatever. We only can control what we can control, and what we can control is whether it's with us, within our family, or within the community in which we live. So let's control that. Let's take back control. And the minute I decided to take back control, my dad didn't have it over me, which he never did, which he never wanted, right? I was allowing that to occur. I didn't give him the grace that he needed because he's a product of his environment. He grew up in not the easiest ways, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's what are we doing now? Are we changing? Are we becoming better? Because if so, then what do we have to complain about?
Yeah. Can I ask about your siblings? Because this is something you were doing for yourself, for your healing. But you share a dad with your brothers and sisters. I don't know what their experience was with your father, but did they support? Did they say, you know what, Beau, we support you in trying to do that? Or, you know what, we don't agree with what you're doing. We were traumatized too. How do you deal with the family dynamics when you're trying to deal with a personal issue between you and another family member?
You have patience, grace, and hope for them, right? You allow them to be in their lived experience, be in their space to come to their understanding. Because I can't dictate. I can't dictate whether they go talk to my dad or not. I can't tell them that they need to.
Yeah.
It's all free agency, and whatever path they choose. But I could promise them, and I could promise you out there, that as you go down this path, it is a lot happier. It's hard at first, right? As you're facing these moments. Because when my dad called me about a month and a half ago, and he asked for forgiveness, that was huge. He didn't need to do that. I was already fine.
Yeah.
But it elevated my level of confidence that much more because he did call. So he did, in essence, in a way, set me free a little bit more, right? And I speak to people that are facing these issues. It's easy to sit there and to blame others, to say, hey, I'm this way because of this person. Or do you want to take responsibility for your own actions and face it? Hard as it. I've gone through therapy. I've done a lot of work to get to this point, but facing it is going to allow that therapy to really take place, really take shape, and allow that change and that growth to occur. And I do believe we have to face. We have to face it. And I don't say you have to go look at my dad and talk to him, right? But generally speaking, if you have issues within your family, sitting there and throwing it under the rug doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
It just
I love your experience because you set out not as a goal to get your dad to come out, to get your dad to change his mind, or whatever, right? It wasn't your goal wasn't to affect change. I mean, you want other guys to come in and share ideas and think tank like that, but to actually have it come full circle for you, man, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. My question is, are you seeing, is there any kind of ripple effect amongst your friends who have seen this change happen or know of this change and saying to themselves, well, dang it, there's a chance for me too, man. Are you seeing that positive effect?
I've had friends reach out to me.
Hell yeah.
And I think it gives them hope, right? It gives them hope for the future that, maybe their situation's completely different, which again, we could look at it and say, hey, it happened to Beau, so it should happen to me. No, it's not going. It might not happen in this life, right?
Yeah.
But I do know that if you change your perception or the way you approach it, what's going to happen with your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids is going to have so much greater effect. That ripple effect isn't just for me now, but it's going to be my grandchildren. They're going to know their father. They're going to know their grandfather. They're going to know, Grandpa Pili screwed up. Speaking of myself, that Grandpa Pili screwed up, but he's a good man, and I'm going to continue to love him because he loved me. He showed up at my baseball games. He showed up at my recitals. Like, he was always there, and I hope that my grandkids, my kids, will remember those moments so that it continues on generation after generation, that the abuse, those little things doesn't happen anymore because I changed it today.
You closing those loops also, I gotta believe, makes you a better father, a better husband, because whatever traumatic experience, not that they've completely gone away, but at least you have a good ending, right, to that story. Whatever how it started, it'll come back to, man, Dad called me.
Yeah.
Dad called me, forgive me. I can move on, right? So there's hope for other men, other women who are having these same struggles with any one of their parents, right? Yeah. I wanted to ask, moving into the podcast, relaunching the podcast, what are some issues that you have heard from fellow fathers, fellow husbands in the husband realm that they're dealing with? Is it working, keeping mom and the kids happy? Are we going to be able to tackle some of those struggles? Intimacy, any of those things?
I'm hearing divorces, separations, navigating and balancing life, what that looks like, the number of sports, and we're guilty of it. Like we have 5 to 7 games a Saturday, and trying to find that perfect balance in life where you're still affecting your children in a positive way, not just on a car ride to a sporting event. There's those things. There's income. There's how to get better job. Like, there's so many topics that could be discussed.
Yeah.
Where I again, and why I want to take this approach, one person can bring up 5 to 10 topics just in one sitting in long form conversation.
Yeah. And again, it's a think tank. It's a sharing of good ideas. You know, what you may have used for discipline, non-violent a discipline works for your kids. It could definitely work for me. I just don't have the ideas.
Yeah.
And so when we're sharing these great suggestions from other fathers and other husbands, it's because they've tried it. And if they have something that's not working, maybe there'll be somebody else that can, help them out as well.
I tell you what, during those months that we did the podcast, I became a better father and better husband, because a lot of the topics we discussed, I would try to, hey, let's try this out because I got to go talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I tried it and it was like, I'm better because of it. My conversations with my wife are better. My conversation with my children, taking the time, sitting. I just had a teenager, get his license along with,
there's a whole bunch of topics there.
Open them up to social media. And it's like, I got to talk about that. I had as I was talking with a client and we're talking about social media, and she made a very good point, which my wife had already made the point, but of course I probably just overlooked it. But she was like, would you rather have him learn social media when he turns 18, when he's out there in the world, or would you rather be able to kind of control it a little bit in the home?
Tutor him, yeah.
That's a great, and so now he has social media. It's like those moments, it's like, all right, how can I become a better husband, better father? But I could have that client on and we could discuss how they navigate through their certain life situations. And I think it's just a great opportunity for these husbands and fathers to come on board, to be able to share their experiences, to just be able to change. People be able to take bits and pieces from these podcasts and just try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let's
try something else.
Podcast.
Yeah,
exactly.
Extrapolate what you think is going to be best for you. Thank you so much, Beau, for coming in and sharing great information about the real estate game, about the title game. If you're interested in that, Beau can help you out if you're buying a home. But also about the upcoming podcast. And this is what I wanted to say. Your breakthrough really helped me out. And so, we've already had this discussion, but I wanted to announce once a month, we're going to have Beau come on to our radio show, 92.5 The Beat, because, it's a bigger reach in conjunction with everyday people. So we got to overlap so we could, I think your story, it really touched me, and it really made me think about, I got to tell the good stories too. I can't just tell the stuff that everybody wants to talk about, the traumatic stuff. Yes, we all get that. And there's a place for that and a time, but it can't just be the overwhelming theme about who my father is, about who your father is, right?
Exactly.
There's layers to them. In closing, please tell everybody how we can click, like, and link up with you, what information, so that we can, once we start advertising and do the PR for the podcast, we'll tell you when and where you could catch it. But if they want to learn more about how they can get one of the best title guys in the business, how do they do that, and how do they follow you for the podcast?
Again, what I shared with you earlier about my phone number, everything, but on top of that, my social media, Beau the Title Guy is my IG handle, and then the podcast itself will be on Facebook, Husband and Fatherhood, and then log into there and we'll figure out how to get it to all the other places, and so that's where I get to work with some great people in media that are able to help me get there.
Yeah, thank you to Cindy, who's been our wonderful engineer behind the scenes. Couldn't do the show without her. Please click, like, and share. If we don't tell our stories, nobody will. If we help one person, then we're doing our job. Please be kind, as we always say, every day on Everyday People Pacifica Chapter. We'll see you guys on Friday morning for Everyday People Pacifica Chapter. Lynn Katoa and Crystal will be back hosting a Friday morning show. All right, have a good one. We'll see ya. Bye.
Thank you.
You're so damn fly. When you walk by, couldn't believe my eyes. Excuse me, miss, if I'm coming off shy. That's just the better half of being a guy. dance at your hips. Blow your boy kiss, and that's when I